Yes, indeed. Listen to Blue Please here on Wild Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. The sounds of Machine House Supremacy through the looking glass. Okay. Now, I've got a few shout-outs to make before I continue with the next topic. I'd first like to give a very special plug to our friends over at the MOG Army. Massively online gamer, that's mogarmy.net. Fellow producers of podcasts covering a wide variety of topics. Broaching sometimes on World of Warcraft, but mostly covering general gaming and, of course, massively multiplayer online stuff. And they have a great bunch of people over at their forums. I would highly recommend you check out their podcasts. That's mogarmy.net. I'd also like to thank everyone who dug Blue Please. That's, of course, through the show's page. We have dig links. What is dig? Dig is a promotional tool. If you dig us, we get higher on the scoreboard, and we get to air our shows to more people. This is a very good thing indeed. If you want to dig us and you haven't already, go to wcradio.com/shows.php and click the dig buttons. Blue Please is currently sitting on a rather nice 320. However, we want more, and I know we can do it, so let's go there. Go and dig it. Go and register if you haven't already. It took 20 seconds as I demonstrated live on air last show. It wins. It wins. It is fantastic. You should go and do it if you like our shows. Also, one more shout-out must, of course, go out to the Eternal Corpse Council on my home server of Mazrigo, who just downed Prince Malgazar. Very, very well done. Anyone else that wants shout-outs, they will be reserved for the 5 minutes at the end of the show, damn it. So be patient. Be patient indeed. Now, before I go on, I must introduce our new meme for the day. I was in Netherstorm, and I acquired a rather interesting quest. It was acquirable in Area 52, and the Somebody's Apprentice was there, requiring I acquire the staff of a certain archmage. And for some reason, this particular thing has caught on in our guild. It's become a big thing. Originated also from Kiki Jiki, the one and only, in his guild, the Shatrath Emporium, or Defiance Brotherhood, which is made entirely of Win. And I have been told that their RP is in fact there, but not elsewhere. So yes, I present to you the one and only...
the image of Archmage Vargoth.
Yes, the image of Archmage Vargoth. A myriad of uses. What is the image of Archmage Vargoth? That is the question. What is the image of Archmage Vargoth? That is not a contest question, however, I'm about to introduce the last two contest questions. And they are both, in fact, to do with the image of Archmage Vargoth. Yes, indeed.
The image of Archmage Vargoth.
Yes, the image of Archmage Vargoth. So, those of you tracking the epic giveaway wanting to get involved in the contest, the three questions last week were, what spell do shamans hate? That was from Rap in the Forums. What colour were the pantaloons? That's the colour, not the quality. And, of course, which drawer did Metzen keep the Outland in? There are two more questions to be emailed to epicgiveaway@gmail.com. Get all five answers, and email them to epicgiveaway@gmail.com. The fourth question for Epic Giveaway is, what is the colour of Archmage Vargoth's beard? What is the colour of Archmage Vargoth's beard? You have to listen to the rest of the show to find out what the last question is going to be. But to repeat that, what is the colour of Archmage Vargoth's beard? If you don't already know, I'd suggest you go and find yourself an...
the image of Archmage Vargoth.
Yes, find yourself an image of Archmage Vargoth. An image of Archmage Vargoth, in fact. Right, let's get on topic, damn it. Okay. Now, PvP has always been a bit of a... not so much a gripe fest for me. I admit it. I rolled on a PvP server on day one, and I have not considered rolling a serious character on another realm, despite the fact... yeah? Despite the fact that ganking is annoying. That was very rude of me. I do apologise for that. Let me start that sentence again. Despite the fact that ganking is very, very annoying. And it can delay your quests, particularly outside instance portals. You're aiming to get on time for your AQ40 instance, you get ganked and suddenly you lose DKP for being late. Ah! The frustration, the fear, the jealousy, and the stabbing. So, ganking is just a part of life on a PvP server. You do, yeah, eventually turn to accept it. As long as you're not really doing anything specific, you don't really mind. You just get up there and say, hi, he ganked me, very good, I'm going to go back and corpse camp him now. Or I'll get my entire guild to do it. I'll surround him with the image of Archmage Vargoth entirely, just for humiliation. And I'll corpse cap him. You can do that. Now, the problem is, that isn't really an objective to the game. I mean, you've got your three objectives. You've got your PvP, your PvE, and your RP, yeah? RP is user-created content, yeah? That really doesn't get old. It doesn't end, but you need to be a specific kind of person to enjoy it. You need to be on a specific server to enjoy it, because otherwise it's just not going to happen, okay? So, then you've got your PvE, yeah? For the past 2 years, PvE has been pretty much the end game of World of Warcraft, yeah? You've been able to do certain things with PvP, i.e. acquire gear and all that kind of thing, but the challenge, the real challenge, and most of the content has been put into PvE. End game raiding. Okay? And what of the new content? What is going on with the outline exactly? Well, let's break it down. To start with, what was there pre-60 and, of course, pre-70 for PvP in the original game? What do we got? World PvP. Now, World PvP, it was a complete misnomer. Why? Because it has no real objective. It's not like you're forcing back territory, or stealing territory, or doing anything like that. It's nowhere near as good as Realm vs. Realm on Dark Age of Camelot. Now, not to say that I like Dark Age of Camelot, but I can appreciate a good game mechanic when I see it. So, yeah, Realm vs. Realm, pretty good. PvP, World PvP in World of Warcraft, absolutely pointless. There's really, really no objective there whatsoever. Blizzard saw that and decided, well, we'll try and expand it with World PvP objectives. So what do we get? 4 remote towers. Or was it 3? Was it 4? 3? Can't recall. Might be 3. Remote towers in the Eastern Plaguelands. This shows how much I have not bothered to actually go anywhere near them. And what else did we have? Oh, let's see. Oh yes, Silithist. The race for collecting bits of sand. Building sand castles in Silithis for the glory of the Horde. Fantastic. The spice must flow and all that jazz. So, there's your World PvP as such. Now, what about your Battlegrounds? You've got 3 Battlegrounds. You had 2, originally, when Battlegrounds were first released. You had Altarat Valley, the largest, most pointless zone I've ever seen in my life. Unfortunately, they restricted the scope of it. They made it smaller, which is a good thing because it's not very pleasant getting completely lost in there, and I freely admit that I did when I first went in. And of course we had Warsong Gulch, which is your classic capture the flag, which I admit is a hell of a lot of fun and still is. It's very well designed. It's base versus base. It's what all successful team-based capture the flag games were based upon, pardon my pun. It's great. And then of course you had Arathi Basin. Arathi Basin, it's a resource capture. It's pretty much along the lines of Battlefield. Battlefield 1942. That's what you want. Yeah? And it worked well. Again, it's a good battleground. It's a lot of fun. But what does it do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no single effect of perhaps winning, maybe if your side wins 2/3 of the Arathi Basin games for the day, something happens. No, it doesn't actually happen. It's honor grinding, actually, at this point. That's really all it is. If you're doing it for any particular purpose other than your own sole enjoyment, which is temporary and fleeting, I might add. Sorry to rain on your parade. It's grinding for gear. And that is, to some degree, okay. I mean, isn't that all that you're really dealing with as regards to PvE, raid content? It's grinding for gear, surely. So, well, that's what we had, yeah? We had your mythical world PvP, and then you had Battlegrounds, yeah? And the honor system. Now, what are we looking at post-expansion? We were promised a few things. We were promised a new battleground, which we received, the Eye of the Storm, which I will come on to in just a little bit. We received world PvP objectives in every zone, yeah? And they were relatively varied. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. And then we've got, of course, the arena system and the capturable town. Hala. So, what's what? What's good, what isn't, what worked, what didn't? Let's have a look at the first PvP objective that we're looking at. We're looking at the Hellfire Peninsula. And you have 3 capturable areas, which you basically stand around on, capture, and everyone gets a 5% buff. Until you lose one of them, of course. That's a 5% damage buff. Zone-wide, this includes instances. And as soon as you lose one of them, bye-bye buff. Oh my god, let's go and get it again. And you can also, and now this is actually quite a good thing, when you capture them, you can do this quest in order to earn Marks of Thrallmar, which you can turn in for various nice things. Okay. That's pretty good. You know what the really good thing is? It was centralized. It was in a sensible position. It's along one of the main quest roads. It's around some of the main questing areas. There are people there. You don't have to go out of your way like you did in the Eastern Plaguelands. Let's capture this remote tower. Why, sir? It has no tactical influence on the area. Let's just capture it anyway. No, that's not a good idea. But you've got all this stuff in the middle of Hellfire. It's something of a battleground. It's pretty cool. You move on to Zangarmarsh and you've got... oh yeah, more capturable areas, and this time you can get a graveyard. That's actually a really tangible benefit. You get the 5% damage buff, but you also get a graveyard. And what better thing to give people than something they can genuinely use and will shorten the time that they spend? Corpse running. Great, that's brilliant. That was a really good idea. I was impressed with that. Now, Terakar Forest, you're looking at more tower captures. Now, the thing about Terakar Forest, which is really interesting, is that if you're capturing your towers and you get the buff, you are able to not only get additional experience and damage, but earn spirit shards, which can be handed in for yet more awesome gear. The spirit shard idea was a stroke of genius, in my opinion. It was the perfect synergy of PvE and PvP. Spirit shards, of course, can only be gotten from PvE by going to the Ocean Down instance. If I pronounce that correctly, I will reward myself with cheese, and it's awesome. That's a really, really good idea. I was pleased by that. Very good. Very good indeed. If you want to hybridize and not stigmatize as regards to the segregation of PvE and PvP, then that's the kind of thing you need to do in order to make it worthwhile. I was pleased by the results in Terakar. Now, we move on to Nagrand, and Hala, in my opinion, was something of a disappointment. It's fun. It's pretty fun to get on a wyvern and bomb stuff, and drop bombs on people, and say count wyvern points when someone lands, and kick the living snot out of them and laugh on their corpse. It's fun. I like it. However, it switches hands, and you realise that the rewards available there are not really all that great. We were promised some rather specifically good stuff available if you had Hala. I mean, why not a flight point? Nagrand is a very big place. Why can't I have a flight point there? If I own that, why can't I have a flight point? It'll take me right into the middle of Nagrand. What a brilliant idea. What an incredible smell we've discovered. That's fantastic. Let's do that. But no, that never happened. We've got some limited PvP gear available from PvPing, and of course you need research tokens as well, which means you have to go and grind mobs. Now that is a less, certainly a very much a less well-designed element of the PvE-PvP synergy. It's like, yeah, let's go and do something fun, like kick the crap out of people in the middle of the zone and fight over a town. That's fun. Now let's go and grind mobs. That's not fun. So you have to combine research tokens and battle tokens. Research tokens can only be gotten from handing in this Oshigan crystal powder, which drops off mobs. So you've got to go grind for it. Not fun. Okay? Not fun at all. And then things kind of peter off. I mean, Blade's Edge, I actually confess I've never bothered to go into. I avoided it completely because I heard some horror stories about the grinding quests there and the huge distance. And with Shadow Moon and Netherstorm, it's like, yeah. Nothing specific going on there. So, is it anything but a metagame? That's the question. And I'm going to come back onto arenas after the break because I think it deserves its own topic. But is it anything other than a metagame? Something to occupy your time? I would have to say that right now the answer is no. I'm sorry to all those PvPers listening. I've PvP'd an awful lot. I love it. It's good fun. But it doesn't have a stability. It doesn't have a permanence within the game. It doesn't have a lasting impact in the same way that PvE progression does. People get hyped up about world firsts in PvP. It's the aim of hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of guilds the world over to attempt to progress as fast as humanly possible. But when someone says to get rank 14 in PvP, only a select number of people on their realm care. Of course, rank 14 doesn't even exist anymore. the question is, and I'll hopefully attempt to answer this question after the break, will the arenas actually change that? Will they give people a reason to get hyped up again and be thrilled when they see a group of people do something that no one else in the world managed to do? Will it happen? Will it become the same that, will it become what PvE has become to World of Warcraft? Not just a sport, but something that, millions of people follow with interest in the way that pushing progress and pushing the envelope is very important to WoW. We shall see, and I'll try and answer that question after the break. Any opinions? Email themurloc@gmail.com. I want some Nubcake news for you now. This is Blue Please. This is WoW Radio. Enjoy. Nubcake News! Stop that. Welcome to this week's edition of Nubcake News. Coming up later in the show, we venture into the Botanica for some top gardening tips from the experts and investigate the latest arcane fashion accessory, the image of Archmage Vargoth. But first, making the headlines today. This week's Valentine's celebration, which spread across Azeroth and the Outland, was marred by outbreaks of sporadic violence and a myriad of complaints of stalker-like behaviour, stretching the police forces of the major cities to breaking point. Hospital wards and triage posts were flooded with cases of serious and life-threatening injuries caused by so-called silver-shafted Valentine's arrows impaled in eye sockets, the backs of heads, and various other vital and horrifically painful places. Speaking to the Master of Triage at Hammerfall Outpost in the Arathi Highlands is our on-the-spot reporter. Sir, would you care to comment on the epidemic of sharp, dangerous, potentially lethal, but very, very romantic injuries that have been sweeping our lands in this time of celebration? Ah, yes. You see, as you can see, my surgery is chock full of the wounded. I can barely move for all the patients laid out on the floor. Whoops, I'm sorry, Stonehoof. Don't worry, we can sew that back on. What? Blood? No. Moonberry juice, yes, see? Very tasty. Anyway, what was I saying? We've had casualties flooding in from all across Azeroth. The culprit are these so-called silver-shafted arrows, also known as love or Valentine's arrows. So what's the problem, you may ask? A simple gesture of affection and longing, yes? Hardly. You see, these things have thick wooden shafts about a foot long, with the tips are serrated and razor-sharp. This one's even been tipped with an armor-piercing corium head. Now, I know the trolls like to throw hunting spears at each other in their mating rituals, but seriously, this is going beyond a joke. I can't keep up with the number of injuries. Oh, no, another one. Matron, get him over here. It has pierced his aorta, you say? Oh, Lord, that must be heartfelt. What do you mean that was uncalled for? Going hand in hand with this plague of injuries comes the allegation of certain strangely garbed winged goblins, pursuing both male and female alike wherever they go, showering them with unwanted advances, despite their best efforts to get rid of them. A swift investigation by police revealed that the perpetrator is a Mr. Pedalfeet, who has since been arrested and charged. He was dragged off to the Orgrimmar dungeon screaming, "I just wanted to spread the love!" We spoke to Chief of Police High Overlord Salfang, who stated, "The perpetrator of this heinous crime has been arrested, charged and tortured, not necessarily in that order. Blood elf males everywhere can go about their daily routines without fear of amorous adventures from this perverted little creatures. We at Orgrimmar Police Department take great pride in protecting our citizens, no matter how metrosexual they may be. For the Horde." So, a double whammy of disillusionment, and with the Burning Legion on our front doorstep, and many of our brave heroes lying on a hospital floor or shut away in their homes, traumatized by winged goblin fiends, will we indeed survive to see another episode? This has been Nubcake News. Good night.